Hi, welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is why I disagree with the Saker, Andrei the Saker. And this is the third part of my day of war. And this is the main reason why I'm making these 3 videos. I am totally beep off. Now, the Saker, which I highly respected, which I don't do anymore, and it's all because of this article, had good analysis. I agree most with what he said, sure. He's probably, his name is Andrei, so I believe probably spelled as the Russians do. So I believe he's a Russian. I don't know where he lives in America, but I don't know when he moved or immigrated to America. He's supposed to have a master's degree in military analysis. I have made videos about the story about military analysis and credentials, and I didn't mention his name, but now you can know. I am on the warpath. In my opinion, Andrei the Saker is a hypocrite. He's nothing else than a pro-Western nerd. If you don't agree with him, you are basically cancelled. All right. And I'll give you an example. I don't leave comments on his website because I'm not going to go into his censorship and so on, and I didn't want to make an effort. Wasn't worth my while. But one day, about a couple of weeks back, so I thought, oh, well, why not write an article for him and thereby be able to promote this channel? Maybe more people will know about my channel and my discussions and so on. Fine. I wrote a neutral type of article about why the Western narrative is as it is and why it is essential and why people are bamboozled by the enormous propaganda machine and why they believe and why they say the things that they're saying. Andrei decided to publish it. It's fine. But unfortunately, then the curse on withdrawal happened. And anybody that has followed my channel knows I am totally against that withdrawal. I think the Russians made a huge mistake in that. Not only from a PR view, but also from a military strategic view. There were other options available. And my main argument is that the Russians have to retake Kherson. So unless they do something unconventionally, but if they do a frontal attack, like the grinding attack, or whatever they want to call themselves, of grinding the enemy, then they have to cross the Dnieper River again. They blew up the bridge. They have to do pontoons. They moaned that the supply lines were under pressure, and that was one of the reasons why they had to withdraw. They had to approach the city, and then they have to destroy the city as they have done in Mariupol. There were other options available. Like I said, I'm not a military expert. I don't know what the Russian weapons have, but they had choices. Can't tell me that. But then it was also Pavlovka and Izium and Lehman and so on, and this totally showed you that there was something drastically wrong in the Russian command. And when Surovikin came into power, I believe, and that's the only excuse I can actually think of, he saw the chaos in the Russian command. He saw things were not happening, and he said to him, halt. Let's go back to basic, consolidate the army. We wait for the 300,000 reservists. We wait for the new armament, and then we're going to go forward again. That's the only reason I can think of what could have done. But I might be wrong. That's not the point. But I did express my opinion in an article. Or actually, I sent a video, because what the Saker has done is he published a lot of other articles by guest writers and also by videos. And at that stage, he has already published 2 videos of Gonzalez leaders who were totally nonsense. But Andrei supported him, which was the biggest bullshit in any case, and appreciated his views and actually recommended his readers to it. Okay, which was a mistake on his side in any case. And well, I thought to myself, why do I have to write an article? I do videos in any case, so let's promote a video channel and send him the link to the cursor withdrawal video I had that. And then he didn't publish it. And I was waiting, and nothing happened. And I wrote him another email about that. And then he said to me in his email, he doesn't agree with me. He agrees. I explained to him. He didn't want to acknowledge my arguments. He said, well, let's agree that we disagree. And he terminated our basically a relationship. A very childish behavior for a person I think is not that young. He's probably my age and even not older. So basically what it comes to is, if I don't agree with him, then he's not going to publish it. Which is fine, in principle, if he was the only person that published on his blog. But he allowed a lot of other people to publish their articles as well. And then I started to realize a pattern. It wasn't that obvious to me. I realized actually a pattern that all these articles that are written are pro-Russian, or at least anti-West. Now what's the point of that? If you only distribute the one narrative. I am not pro-Western. I am actually pro-Russian, but I would like to wake up the pro-Russian commentators that there are new realities. And there's a reason, there's another side to the coin. But they didn't want to listen. So, cancel culture. That's hypocrisy. So you bitch about the Western hypocrisy and then you do it yourself. But this is not the reason why I'm doing today's video. I am not bitching him. I can accept his decision and I can respect his decision, although it's childish. And I'm not really complaining. I'm just giving it as a sort of background. And this, just remember, Andrei the Saker vets every video. He only allows what he believes and supports himself. He doesn't tolerate any counter-arguments. This is important to remember. That is why I told you the whole story. And this brings me to this article, which was published on the 5th of December. That was Monday. And it's called the Einsatzgruppen, Death Squads, Eastern Europe, 1941 to 1944. This article is supported by Andrei the Saker. Then I will leave a link to this. It is pure German bashing during the Second World War. And you should by now I'm a German. And I'm not believing the history of the Second World War. It's like I always say, the African proverb. Until the lion gets his own historian, the hunt will be glorified. Hunter and the hunter will be glorified. The victor writes history and always belittles his enemy. Always. In a war, and you can tell me any war, there are no good guys. There are no bad guys. There are human beings who are frightened, who want to stay alive, who are put in a death struggle because of their superiors who sit at home, drinking champagne and having all these ideological ideas. And the other side of those groups are the money-making industrialists. That is what war is. I like to refer you to the song by Black Sabbath, War Pigs. Go read those lyrics. And some of our videos actually gave you a link to that. Black Sabbath war pigs. It gives you a good description. And if you want to know more about the soldiers, then I'll refer you to the war prayer. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name now. Can you believe it? American writer. About the civil war in America. Can you believe it? Okay, I will look it up and write it down here at the bottom. In any case, then you know what soldiers are and what human beings are. Now, if these death squads that are supposed to have killed so many people in the eastern countries, if they are all true, then like my mom said, they were in the Second World War. German soldiers do get passes and go home to rest and see their families. And then they return to the front. Like all armies do. And word would have gotten out. You cannot keep something like this quiet. There were no German death squads. There were no Germans killing on people. Like I said in my previous video, neither my uncles, neither my granddads, neither my granddad's brothers, or whatever persons I ever met in Germany is a flippin' monster and a killer and a psychopath. They are all normal people. And German soldiers were normal people, just like the Russian people, just like the French, just like the British. And like I said in my previous videos, what about Dresden? What about the firebombing of Hamburg? What about the propaganda that is being displayed? I talked about the Russians, the Russian rape squads. Do I have to start now talking about this false narrative as well? Spread this anti-Russian Second World War crimes against humanity, and don't the Russians say all this stuff is also hyped and not true? So now should I start talking about that? Second World War was more than 70 years ago. Whatever is written on that is written by limited people, mostly Jewish people in any case. There's another guy that you actually can read, David Irwin, British writer. He wrote a lot about the Pharisees and the lies distributed about the Second World War. He has been prosecuted how many times? There are some other guys in Canada that has investigated these things. I wish people would stop referring back to the Second World War. I wish people will stop flipping bashing the Germans. I wish people will start getting real and understand that history is not always true. History is written by the victors. This is pure bullshit. And the fact that the Saker, Andrei the Saker, allowed this article on his blog makes him complicit in this narrative. That means he supports it. And that makes him a hypocrite and a flippin' asshole. And as long as he publishes these types of articles, I will make videos that says why I disagree with Andrei the Saker. So please, people, if you want to prevent this thing, go write him an email. His email is available. Tell him what I'm saying, because I will make it my vision, my mission. Human beings are human beings. War is war. Actually, what I wanted to say is that I actually wanted to make a fourth video on why I disagree with Alexander Mercurius, which was actually referred to by one of the articles by Larry Johnson. He referred me to that. It's a flippant hour-long video. He mumbles on. He could have said what he said on Alexander within 10 minutes if he wanted it to, but he took an hour long. In any case, he talked about British, I think it was a British news reporter, but some other reporter that went to the Ukrainian front, but not in Bakhmut, self, a little bit out of the fighting zone. And then that person went to a hospital, a military hospital. And when he came back, they wrote about the hospital. Apparently in this hospital, there's arriving every day 150 Ukrainian soldiers injured to be treated. 150 every day. They all need amputations and big operations. Now, let me see. 3 a day, 150. 2 days, 300. 4 days, 3 days, 450. 4 days, 600 patients. Which hospital can handle 600 patients in 4 days? I'm not sure about it. It's a local, small town hospital. It's bullshit. And then they were shocked about the effect of the wounded soldiers. Does nobody understand what war is about? Have you never even watched some of those movies where casualties are brought in from the front? Doesn't matter whether it's a 1916 war or 1917 or in the 22nd century. War is terrible. War, it is bloody. People lose their limb. People lose their eyes. Faces are blown off. Arms are blown off. It's terrible. If you go visit a war hospital, it's no joke. Come on, people. This is not Call of Duty. Modern warfare, whatever. It's not a PC game. This is hardcore intestines lying on the street. Has nobody ever watched photographs of the Second World War? Corpses lying down the whole trench. Lying along the whole road. Think about Napoleon. And, oh yeah, the guy, this commander. They're freezing people. They are standing knee deep in the water in the trenches. Where I showed a video that was published in the previous article, a video, where I asked, where's the water? There's no water. But the point here is that is war. You don't live in a flippin' B&B. You just live in a flippin' trench full of mud, full of water, cold, freezing, hunger. Bodies being shot next to you, dead. Wounded crying for their mothers. Wounded sitting outside the trenches crying until he dies. Never watched any movies of the First World War? Those long trenches? And just for insight, if you want to call back trench war, even in the Second World War, it was the same. People will build up the defensive lines, then they will build the trenches, and that is where they would stay. And then for a month or 2 months, nothing happens. And suddenly say there was a German trenches. Then the Russians will attack. And it will probably repelled and so on, and then go back, and then nothing happens for another month or 2 months. And therefore people have time to build up the trenches, and they build up the fortification, they build up other stuff and so on. But there's no time here. This is a 9 months SMO. There's continuous grinding and bombardment. You don't have time to really make your trenches comfortable or warm or have some shelter over that. You make whatever you have to do. This is hardcore war. And then I think I don't understand, Alexander tried to explain this whole method of war, where they build up fortifications, and then from this fortification, they attack the enemy. The Russians are barely doing that. So what it actually means is that the fortifications are built in front of the line of contact. Say, you basically have here the troops, there's the enemy, you build up the fortification in here, no man's land, and then you move your own troops up to there, and then you drive those guys back, and then you build up there. How does that work? So you put your engineers and you're building up in no man's land. That is what you effectively are arguing. What is Alexander arguing? Huh? How does that work? In no man's land, you build your fortifications so that your troops can advance from their trenches, their safe trenches, to the new defenses, which is in no man's land. No, it doesn't work like that. Unless I understood it incorrectly. Unless I misunderstood it. That's not war tactics. In any case, this front is not a dividing line. It's a positional thing. It has moving boundaries. It has no fixed line. Well, that's fixed lines and so on, but it's not one straight line. It's not one curved line. It doesn't go like that. Here are troops. There are troops. They fight each other. These fight each other. Nothing in between. Should somebody try to move in there, then yes, they will move the battle lines. But usually that area is in any case covered by artillery. So I've listened about 30 minutes of his speech and then I gave up. But again, that's not the point. Andrei the Saker, that's the point. The Einsatzgruppen, death squads, German death squad. What a flippant joke. Has anybody ever thought about what is written in this article or in this part of history? Does it make sense to you? Do you think you can keep quiet? Do you think nobody will hear about it in Germany? I mean, here they talk about the Waffen-SS, the order police, the flippin' normal army. No. The normal army was never involved in that. The normal army was normal fighting. The SS had sometimes different targets and different things. So let me state it again. Andrei from the Saker is nothing more than a hypocrite, a German hater, and a flippin' idiot. There, I said it again. So, that's my story then for today. If you don't like what you heard, doesn't care, I don't care. If you like what you heard, then subscribe to the channel and spread the word and tell this Andrei what I think about him. So until next time, cheers.